Hello, members of Congress. My name is Chris Connor, and I'm a firefighter paramedic, and I'm currently pursuing a degree in health studies. I'm standing before you here today to discuss recognizing a National Firefighter Cancer Support Day. According to the NIOSH, the National Institute on Safety and Health, cancer is a silent killer for firefighters and most often diagnosed after it's reached irreversible stages. I would like to provide you with a little background about cancer and firefighters. 102% greater chance of testicular cancer, 53% greater chance of multiple myeloma, 51% greater chance of non-Hodgkin lymphoma, 39% greater chance of skin cancer, 32% greater chance of brain cancer, 28% greater chance of prostate cancer, 22% greater chance of stomach cancer, 21% greater chance of colon cancer. So what are these numbers? What do they mean? Well, these numbers are very alarming, and they're related to firefighters, and there's no other profession that has cancer risk similar to firefighters. Although the evidence has been only discovered about 10 years ago, the connection between cancer and firefighters is always thought to be very casual. And some people consider firefighters heroes by their definition, so people often assume that firefighters are well taken care of and protected. I can tell you firsthand, unfortunately, that is not the case. There is absolutely nothing about a firefighter that is completely protected. There are limits to all of the protective gear that firemen use while entering dangerous atmospheres. So in the case that firefighters are diagnosed with cancer, the same protection is limited when discussing their health and their health treatments. Most of the time, workers' compensation is revoked when a firefighter is diagnosed with cancer. Cancer had always been considered a life disease and not job-related, and due to that definition, workers' compensation treated it that way. They didn't believe it could be sustained while doing an active job. I'm going to share a couple of stories of a few individuals who have been examples of unfortunate incidences. The International Association of Firefighters wrote a letter about one of their members who was a firefighter for 16 years. He then learned that he had T-cell lymphocytic leukemia, which is a bone cancer. This firefighter contracted cancer as a result of dangerous toxins he was exposed to while doing his job. Unfortunately, this firefighter died because he needed a bone marrow transplant that cost more than $60,000. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. And he couldn't afford it. Essentially, he died because his workers' compensation claim was denied. In 1998, another firefighter from California sustained an injury to a muscle in his back while working a structure fire. The city recognized this as a job-related injury, and they covered the medical cost and the treatment. However, during that treatment, some more things were revealed. It was revealed the lump on his back muscle turned out to be a rare and highly aggressive cancer that attacks soft tissue throughout the body. That includes the heart and the lungs. Once the city got the notice of diagnosis, which was cancer, the city immediately dropped the fireman from workers' compensation. The sad part, he had been a firefighter for that city for 24 years, dedicated his life service to the people, and they dropped him that quickly. After battling with his own insurance company, he had surgery. It was delayed. What didn't correct the issue, but it helped. Shortly afterwards, the firefighter was also in a battle with two additional types of cancer, bladder and prostate cancer. Traces of tar were found in a bladder tumor, yet he never smoked a day in his life. But in his career of firefighting, he was exposed to many burning substances, including tar. Unfortunately, This firefighter also died while battling the fight with workers' compensation and cancer simultaneously. So you may ask, why am I asking for a National Firefighter Cancer Support Day? First of all, they deserve it. Firefighters deserve the recognition and the support for essentially giving their lives to protect our communities, our families, and our property. Next, firefighters are they're not high profile individuals. They're not superstars, athletes. Their pictures aren't on the news. They're regular people like you and I. Nor will they ever be truly compensated for the job they perform. If you take the task in which what they do and the value you add to it, it's not even close. These guys and women do this because they have a passion. Firefighters are individuals who have a passion for helping people, protecting people, risking their lives to save others. Does this passion make them special? Some people would say yes. Some people would say no. In my eyes, yes. They go above and beyond what most people would do. Other than firefighters, our military, our police, our teachers, they all have major impacts on the lives of people. Yet firefighters do not have a national holiday. Let me take you back a few years, an event that made history, an event that America lost some of the bravest people. We all remember 9/11, the World Trade Center attacks that demonstrated the selfless heroism by firefighters. Firefighters were rushing into a burning building while everyone else was rushing out. And I know we hear that statement, it's so cliche. It's the honest truth. They were going in. Everybody else needed to get out. Not only were they rushing into a building they didn't know if they were going to make it out of, they were helping people along the way. If people couldn't get out themselves, firemen picked them up and carried them out. Firefighters don't think twice about what their responsibilities are and what the needs are, what needs are most important. They just do their job. As a fellow firefighter, I can tell you, life, and I mean that life, is the most important aspect to any firefighter. So in the case of 9/11, firefighters tried to save as many people as possible. Unfortunately, while doing the job they have a passion for, the attacks claimed 343 firefighters' lives. Did any firefighter that day think he would not ever see his family again by entering those buildings? Probably not, because like any other firefighter I know, the job of saving people is always first and foremost. Firefighters choose this career knowing that there are some risk, but no one ever thinks about dying, never seeing their family again, or watching their kids grow up. It is definitely about passion, and these men and women who choose to become firefighters deserve honor. The reason I discuss this story with you is because even after 9/11, there were thousands of other firefighters and workers that were diagnosed with some form of cancer. Do you think that was coincidence? Some are going to say yes, some are going to say no. But knowing what we know today and all the information we have about carcinogens and what's given off in fires, we also know that firefighters have higher chances of cancer than any other profession. So I'm going to tell you that wasn't a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It's facts. They were doing their job. Part of their job causes cancer. One other story was from the Bedford Fire Department. The story is a little close to home for me. It involves one of my friends, my fellow firefighters I've worked with for over 15 years. I'll refer to him as Keith. Keith is a 24-year veteran firefighter. 3 years ago, Keith was having some lower back pain the day after we got off shift. We had a structure fire that day. During that shift, that fire was pretty intense. Had required a lot of physical work on our behalf. The next morning, Keith got off work, experienced some lower back pain, called his wife. He wrote it off as, and kind of self-diagnosed himself as muscular pain. It went away after a couple hours. He went on about his day, and they that evening started having that same back pain. Became very severe that evening. Same area. His wife insisted that he go to the emergency room to just check himself out, make sure he didn't have an injury. So at the request of his wife, Keith went to the emergency room. They performed a CT to identify if there was any injury to his spine, see if he had slipped a disc, pinched a nerve, something, or if it was just muscular. Immediately after the CT, the doctor came into the room and stated that he wanted to transfer Keith to a level 1 hospital. The physician started saying that there was something abnormal about his CT and it needed immediate surgery. Keith and his family, very terrified at this point, because nobody was being straightforward with them. Keith was transferred, and a specialist came to see him at the level 1 hospital and kind of explain what was going on. The unthinkable happened. Keith was diagnosed with stage 4 colorectal cancer. He had a mass the size of a grapefruit in his colon that had to be removed immediately. So let's pause right there for a moment. I've told you about stories, guys getting cancer, thinking they were minor injuries. This guy, been a veteran firefighter, done his job, never complained of pain, didn't notice it. Something this minor is back pain, and now this guy has stage 4 colorectal cancer. Stage 4. He's going to die. The mass was removed, but further tests the next morning revealed that the cancer had spread to his liver and his lungs. Keith was given approximately 4 years to live. So I'm going to pause again in that story. At that point, what do you think was going on in Keith's mind? His family's mind? Do you think any of them were scared? I can't speak personally for them, but I know how I would feel. Now back to Keith. It's been just over 3 years and chemotherapy every 2 weeks. Surprisingly, Keith continues to come to work every shift unless he is scheduled for chemotherapy that day. Keith never complains. He never makes excuses about his career or his cancer, yet he continues to perform his job with the same passion and energy that he did when he was a rookie. He has a true passion for what he does, even though he knows his career is going to kill him. That defines passion. So I could sit here, continue to give you statistics after statistic, which proves there's cancer associated with firefighting. But our goal here is to recognize and support a National Firefighter Cancer Support Day. So how can we do this? We could dedicate a day to all firemen that have been diagnosed with cancer. Show our support. Some possibilities are placing flags at half-mast, having a parade of fire trucks, honoring the guys that have given their lives for the people, and show some respect and honor, knowing that they acquired this disease, this cancer, by helping others. Let's recognize them by showing our support. My proposal is a one-day designation, have a parade of fire trucks, get the community involved, families involved, and see what we can do with that. We can work out the specifics, but I think this would be great to honor these guys, and there's good reason for it. So, thank you.